Very good. Everyone may have a seat, please. Cirifalco versus CMD 559-255. Plaintiff is present, and Mr. Procopius is present with his client. Now, in a nutshell, Dad's requesting half the time, but Mom says he's been unemployed and been living in a VA shelter for the last
And I can give you some updates, Judge, but when you're ready.
Okay. There's also some concerns about the transporting with the motorcycle and the helmet, etc. Well, very good. What's the update?
Well, Judge, for the last month, the plaintiff has been basically living with a friend.
Okay.
And he's been getting about one overnight with the child a week.
Oh, so for the minutes, 1 month ago,
he vacated. He had to vacate the residence.
Veterans Clinic.
No, he wasn't ever. I don't think he ever made it into a vet. That's what we thought he was going to do. That's what he said he was going to do.
Okay.
He vacated their residence together because the lease was up. He's now been living with a friend for the last month.
What made her think he was with a VA shelter?
Because he said text messages saying that that's what he was going to do.
Oh.
So, Judge, the client's been basically living, or the child's been basically living primarily with my client for the last month.
So what day of the week is it?
It's been a little bit fluctuating. It's usually on a Friday or a Saturday night, and we don't have an objection to a Friday or Saturday night in the situation, pending the outcome, because we do have school that we're dealing with. The plaintiff doesn't even have the motorcycle as transportation now, so he doesn't have any consistent, I think it's broken down or something along those lines. So he doesn't have any consistent transportation for the child to get the child to and from school. My client's always been the one to do those things anyway, safe key in the morning, that type of thing, with the child. She's been the hands-on parent in that, and as you saw in our motion, Judge, that's clearly been the case. We need to get these parties to mediation to see what they can work out. But on a temporary basis, because of schooling, because of kind of the influx situation that the plaintiff's in, and that he's living with a friend, that he really, my client doesn't have a problem on a non-school night, a child sacking out somewhere on a couch or what have you, but this child needs a regular situation during the school week. My client has actually has applied for his own variance to make sure the child stays in the same school. The principal's already signed off on that, so the child will be staying in the same school.
Okay.
My client does the transportation back and forth to and from school. So on a temporary basis while we're going to mediation, and now mind you, Judge, this isn't a money thing for my client at the moment. We understand that the plaintiff doesn't have a job. We're not looking necessarily for $100 a month that he possibly would owe my client for a temporary order. That's not the important part of all this. The important part of all this is routine and consistency for the child and the state of flux for the plaintiff. Who knows what's going to happen moving forward, Judge? He may get to the point where he gets a job and he gets stable, he gets a good place for the child and him to be, and we might be looking into a joint physical custody situation at that point. But right now, it was a month ago that he sent her the text saying, look, I'm leaving the house. He had a fire sale of basically everything in the house. The child had the dog in his arms and said, you're going to have to keep the child for several weeks. And that's basically what's happened since the vacating of the residence that these parties shared together. So all we're asking right now, Judge, is a stopgap situation. Let the status quo remain, which is he gets an overnight a week with the child. They've been working as to what, like they did it on Veterans Day because he didn't have school the next day. That was that's a good thing that they're doing, that they're able to work out at least, because my client doesn't have any desire this is this child's father. She believes that there may be some marijuana issues that he uses excessively. I understand that it's legal, but just like alcohol, marijuana used excessively can affect your ability to parent, just like alcohol used excessively can affect your ability to parent. So we have that concern. I don't know if you would be willing to see, let's just see what the levels are with regard to that, to see if he's, an all-day, everyday pot smoker. Because if the levels are high enough, I think that's it's going to show that. But in the interim and the temporary, Judge, I think that these parties have been doing for the best interest of this child is mom being the one that has the school week intact, Dad being able to have his contact with the child on a day off overnight. And I think that's what's best for him at the moment, while they go to mediation, while the plaintiff gets into a situation where he's more stable, and has a better place for the child to be. So that's what we're asking for today, Judge.
Very good. Very good. What's your? Let's start with this. Where are you currently residing?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for taking the time
Where are you
to take this
currently
case, sir.
residing?
I am a highly decorated combat infantry soldier, and I've been working with Help USA vets. If I may hand you all of this information.
Oh, sure. You can tell me whatever you like, but I first just wanted
Sure.
to, before I forget, I wanted to get a few things down. Are you currently residing with a friend? Is that correct?
As of tomorrow, sir, for the last month, I have done everything in my power to secure a home and to secure employment, which I have done.
Have you secured the home?
Yes, I have, sir. I've gone through Help USA vets. They paid for all my security deposits. They paid for all my downs. And I have secured a position which I start Saturdays.
Very good. Tell us a little about the home.
The home that I'll be moving into, sir. The home is the Alonza Apartments, Durango and Starboard, $949 a month. A great location. It is, I'd say, about 3 miles from my son's school.
How far from where Mom lives?
I'd say it's about the same distance, sir. With the past month after vacating the home, all I have done is...
Is there a bedroom for Aiden at the apartment?
I'm sorry, say...
Would Aiden have his own bedroom?
Yes, it is a 2-bedroom apartment, 1,000 square foot.
All right. How about they indicated that your motorcycle's in a state of disrepair. What's your transportation situation at this point?
I have a car that I can use at my disposal at any time that I have picked
I see.
up.
Who does it belong to?
It belongs to my dear friend Scott Ferentz.
Okay, and it's a functioning vehicle.
It is a
at this
functioning,
point.
very functioning vehicle, sir, that I have used to pick up my son, drop him off, take him to the movies.
Is it
whatever.
licensed? Is it registered and insured at this time?
Yes, sir, it is.
Is your driver's license valid?
Yes, sir, it is.
Very good. Tell us about the new job.
I met a gentleman named Kenny Bulwark, who owns Bulwark Security. I talked to him. He wanted to hire me as a veteran, looking for veterans to hire. He said I needed my private investigator license and fingerprinting. I went to the VA. The VA paid for my private investigator license and fingerprinting, so I was able to secure this position with him. I start Saturday, sir.
How much does it pay?
Pays $15 an hour, sir.
What will your schedule be?
Not too sure on the schedule right now. I'll know more of that on Saturday, sir.
Until that employment starts, what was the nature of your income? Do you have disability or what?
No, sir. I was let go of my pool job of 4 years in January. I had disability in my arm through the VA, waiting for surgery. I ended up doing handyman service just on the side, just to make ends meet.
Did you ever receive either temporary or ongoing VA or any disability or governmental benefits of any sort? Or?
No, sir, I have not.
Well, then how were you in a position, if the job hasn't started yet, to secure an apartment of almost $1,000 a month?
Because I'm ready to start the job now. My December's rent is paid, sir, through the VA, so I have 30 days to secure myself for January.
Should we be concerned about the pot smoking issue they raised? What can you amplify anything helpful on that?
Sir, if I had extra money to spend on that, I wouldn't be able to secure and do the things I'm doing right now.
Well, I understand that, but I assume that's a no, but it still doesn't address the question directly. I mean, I assume that's a denial. But she's indicating that you do utilize on occasion. I don't know if it's to address pain issues or what. So, is there any pot usage this calendar year for the last 11, 12 months?
Yes, sir.
None?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes. When was the last month?
Say within the last week, sir.
How often on a weekly basis do you imbibe?
At nighttime when I'm all done with all my things.
Okay. Would you agree to a restriction that at least for a one-day period prior to having your child and all during the time you have your child you wouldn't use?
Of course, sir.
So like a 24-hour, if you had a 24-hour block or whatever, it not only would include no usage during that period, but for the previous 24 hours, meaning like a full 2 days or whatever the case.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. What else? What would you like to tell us?
Okay, I do have a thing I'd like to say. Your Honor, from the beginning of this process, I have continually stated on all and every filed document that joint physical custody is what is best for the child. For 10 years with our son, our dynamic has seen Tony as the financial person, and I am the homemaker. Not only working myself, but taking care of the child 80% of each and every day. In her reply to the original complaint I received from the defendant's lawyer, there is nothing that I can read that shows concern for the best interest of the child. In the defendant's reply, the stability and benefits provided by routine schedule is carelessly neglected. I do not see anywhere in the reply where the child's best needs are in order. I believe the defendant's request to have primary physical custody is not conducive to the best needs of the child. I have always been and continue to be a caregiver to our son. For example, when the defendant leaves work, I will always be the first person called, no matter the time of day or night, to provide supervision to our son. The child needs both parents in his life to ensure the raising of a good person. This is the manner which our son has been accustomed to now for 10 years. In these matters, the defendant went into default. The defendant was served October 4th, 2017, and she had until October 25th, 2017 to reply. I filed default paperwork on 11/2/17. The defendant...
I get to all that, I reviewed all that, but we're here to move the train down the tracks. We're not here to
Roger, that's
get caught up with the legal technicalities and delay this any further. But you both want to start implementing a schedule of some sort and moving the litigation forward. So if someone has some objections to, if someone feels they need more time for something, or they were served too late and need more time to file something in response, they can certainly do so. So whatever you feel you need based on that, that's fine. Same with them. If someone wants to file something additional or whatever, that's fine. Very good. Anything further at this point? I mean, you answered all the questions I had, but I was wondering if there was, it's possible they may have some questions for you, but did you have anything else that would be helpful for the court to know?
I have a great relationship with my son. I am my son's hero. In my proceedings, I have not looked to take away any custody from any parent. Our child needs both of us in his life at all times, as he has continued to have for the past 10 years. To take away the son for time with the father or the mother, I think would be not conducive to the child's well-being.
Very good. Thank you very much. Mr.
very much,
Procopius.
The only thing I can say is this.
Did you have any questions for him?
Not for him,
Okay.
but I mean, just for the kind of to pose
I
to
had
the
some
court.
information I wanted, but it may not have covered everything that your client's
But
concerned
my
about. So
con- well-
he seems more than willing to answer anything you might be
I
concerned
think
about.
he answered the question that kind of gives me concern, and that is, he doesn't know his work schedule.
Because they haven't told him yet.
Right,
So-
but that's
But-
again, if the type of job he's working, is he going to be working evenings when the child's home? Is he going to be working day? So right now it's
Fine,
still,
I thought he kind of indicated days, but I could be wrong. What did you indicate? I thought you were...
Sir, I indicated no days as of Saturday. I will know my schedule, and
But that it was. I thought it was assumed it was going to be days and not a nocturnal schedule.
I've already spoke with Mr. Bulwark, and he will be scheduling me when I do not have my son.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, and again, I don't know. We're kind of in a state of flux. As I said from the beginning, I'm glad for what he's done in the last month. That's fantastic. And the thing is I'm glad for the fact that they've been able to work together in the last month to make sure that he still got to see his son. My client has not denied him that opportunity. We don't believe that that's in the best interest of the child. We've laid out our concerns. I don't know that we're quite there as far as how he's going to land exactly in this situation. I hope that it all comes out. I hope that he can work 40 hours a week when he doesn't have his son. I don't want his son, their son, to obviously be left home alone on an evening, on a swing shift, on a night shift, on a whatever, because I assume if it's a security type job, it's not necessarily going to be a 9-to-5 type job. So with that, Judge, I would say that still our request for temporary at this situation would be the proper. I don't even care what you call it. at this point. That's not the important thing. The important thing is routine for the week regarding that's what's been happening since the separation. Also, it's basically what's been happening throughout this child's life, that my client's the one that's always gotten up, gotten the child ready, gotten the child to school every single morning. So that should probably be the routine that continues in this situation. We don't have an objection, granted that he doesn't, smoke himself into a stupor every single night, which my client says it was all day, every day, when they were living together. It was all day, every day. So, I find it interesting that he was able to keep himself in the marijuana ability with no income. But so, Judge, again, an overnight on his days on a weekend when the child's off of school, on his day, like Saturday is he said he's already working. So I don't know, Judge. I think that this kind of has to be left a little bit, maybe in a state of hey, the child's off of school and he's off. He can have this overnight, 24, 36, hours with the child to give the quality time that's necessary. And again, I don't know where this case is going to lead. We're at the beginning. I'm not saying that if everything gets stabilized, if he gets a stabilized schedule, we'll see what happens from there. But right now, I think this is what's best for the child, Judge.
Do you have anything further?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
In the schedule that I made in the very beginning, it is conducive to both of us. The defendant, for 10 years, has had the weekends off, as I am with the child Monday through Friday. The defendant has the weekends off, and in my scheduling, I did not change that. I continue to say in the scheduling that the child and the defendant should still have their weekends together and their time together as they have had for 10 years. The defendant has continually said about my marijuana use, the reason we're not together is because the defendant has a very bad alcohol problem and continues to have a very bad alcohol problem. On Thanksgiving, when she was with our son at a friend's house.
The primary reasons you guys are not
So
together
that is the
isn't
primary
because of her drinking or your pot usage. I bet it's a lot more complex than that.
Roger that,
I'm
sir.
getting a sense as to what it really is about, but we don't need to dig
Roger
through
that, sir. So the lawyer has talked about my scheduling and my work. In the last month, I have done nothing but, again, learn the law, file paperwork, and get myself together
Okay.
after being the stay-at-home father for
All right.
15 years.
So we'll get, the parties are awarded joint legal custody. There's no physical custody designation at this time, but obviously Aiden's base of operation for school purposes needs to be Mom's house. I hesitate to designate specifically what Dad's time or day of the week or overnights are because, number one, I want to encourage the parties to continue to be flexible. So they've implemented something that has been working adequately up till now, so I don't want to disturb that and say it's going to be this night of the week or that night of the week. And number two, he doesn't know his schedule yet, so it's a little dicey for the court to indicate it's going to be this night or that night. But Mom is to make certain that Dad has at least one night a week and should really, whenever possible, aspire in as many weeks as possible to make certain he gets 2 nights when practical and when it's not disruptive for schooling. And if he's pretty good about getting delivered Aiden to school on time, there should be no reason why Mom shouldn't look toward implementing another overnight. And the party should probably keep a journal of all this so that we can see, we don't have to argue about it next time as to what the contact has been, and we can see what times he received. Now, right of first refusal is aspirational, but I'm not going to impose it in this case, but the party should strive for it, meaning when Mom cannot be with Aiden due to Mom being at work, and most of the time Aiden would be presumably in school anyway, but during times when Aiden is not in school, whether Mom's working on weekends or whatever situation, if that arises, or it's holidays or time off from school, whenever she's not available to be with him 6 hours or more due to work or some other commitment, she should aspire to contact Dad and give him the opportunity. His abilities will be dwindling now. Actually, the ironic part is it is important that Dad's back in the saddle and working, but it also then will somewhat restrict this availability this much broader availability that he's indicating he had. So, again, it's make certain at least one overnight occurs between now and the return of mediation, and the aspiration should be 2 whenever possible, and a right of first refusal whenever possible, although that's not going to be a firm order. There's no child support at this time due to what apparently is a history of some severe financial hardship and other medical circumstance. However, the court can deal with that at the next hearing. I want to make sure that there's been no hitches or glitches with him obtaining and starting a $15 an hour job. And then if it turns out to be the case that he maintains that job, and if it turns out to be the case that they either agree that mom has primary custody or they don't agree but she maintains primary custody till trial, then the court can always deal with retroactive application of any child support order. But at this point in time, not going to order any direct support at this time. There's a stipulation as to pot usage, no usage 24 hours prior to having Aiden or during the time he has Aiden. And obviously, again, that schedule and his overnight has to be when he's not working. So I hope that his days off include weekdays so he can be available to help transport to school and such. So we have a referral to mediation with a return court date of 3/5/18 at 9 a.m. And we'll need, do you need any proof of the transportation or car registration or anything, or is that satisfactory? He says she's been aware that he's been using a car.
She did say that he borrows a car at times.
Okay.
I don't know what we know as far as the availability of the car anytime, anywhere, any place.
Right.
But that I think you've addressed that with the fact that mom is going to basically be responsible for the school week at this point.
Right.
So, do you have a
But
problem doing
at least 1 or 2 overnights a week, she can utilize him to deliver to school.
No.
Is she off on the weekends?
She's off on Sunday and Monday.
Sunday, Mondays.
Okay. All right. Okay, anything further for today's purposes? If not, please walk your client down to mediation and you can just
Okay.
follow them down and fill in the forms, okay?
Thank you for your time, Your Honor.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Judge.
much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Procopius, would you be so good as to have your office prepare a temporary...
I will prepare the order. Thank you,
Okay,
Judge.
thank you.